So hello and welcome to everyone. Thank you for joining. I really want, on behalf of all of us here, this legal team, we want to thank you for your attention to this extremely important story. We are seeking, obviously, justice for this family, but we are also seeking to shine a light of accountability on the sheriff's department, and you are a pivotal piece and a role. You have a pivotal role in that. So we thank you for participating. Before we begin, I just want to ask that in moving forward, that we refer to the surviving daughter as Jane Doe. There have been some reports after the filing of the lawsuit where her name has been exposed, and we're asking that at least moving forward, we call her Jane Doe. So thank you so much. Last Friday, we filed 2 cases against Oakland County and others on behalf of the estates of Monica Canaday and her 2 children, Kyle and Malik Milton. And finally, a second lawsuit on behalf of Monica's surviving daughter, Jane Doe. I'm going to give you a little bit of background as to this case. Throughout the afternoon and evening of January 13, 2023, family members and Good Samaritans called the Oakland County Sheriff's Office to report that Monica Canaday was in the midst of a severe mental health crisis. She was knocking on doors. She was trying to break into homes looking for help. She was in danger, as were her children. Callers repeatedly warned that Monica and her 3 children, ages 10, 9, and 3, were wandering the freezing streets of Pontiac, Michigan, wearing only sheets, and they were in imminent danger. Oakland County Sheriff's Office knew the family was very vulnerable. They knew they were at grave risk for injury, and yet deputies responded with hostility, callousness, and indifference. At 1:14 p.m. on January 13th, Deputy Devin Bernritter confronted Monica at McLaren Hospital in Pontiac for a wellness check. Now, she exhibited clear signs of mental distress during this interaction, and serious concerns were communicated by hospital staff. Hospital staff informed this deputy that Monica had left her children unattended for hours in the emergency room, and she expressed her concerns. Still, Deputy Bernritter refused to engage Child Protective Services, a social worker, or the crisis intervention team. Instead, he watched as she walked away out of the hospital. He then chose to follow Monica and the children from his patrol car, which only deepened Monica's paranoia that the police were trying to hurt her and her children. By mid-afternoon, members of Monica's family made reports to the Oakland County Sheriff's Office that Monica was in a mental health crisis. There was a Good Samaritan who repeatedly called 911 after seeing Monica and her children walking the streets of Pontiac, draped only in sheets. He observed them closely. He observed that Monica, something was wrong. The kids were in danger. He told this to dispatch and begged for help. Deputy Alex Cazal was dispatched to perform a wellness check and to search for Monica, but he refused to do so. In fact, he refused to even get out of the car. Instead, Deputy Cazal lied to the Good Samaritan Johnson, claiming that he was ordered to go to another location, and simply drove off, fully aware that Monica and her kids were in danger. Cazal's, and by the way, this stop that he went to, that Cazal went to, that's untrue. He was not called to a traffic stop. He was dispatched to go look for Monica Canaday and her children. Cazal's true feelings in a conversation that was caught on his own body camera during a 16-minute call with another colleague, he expressed his bias and he expressed his true feelings. In that recorded conversation, Cazal ranted about his disgust for the Canaday family and Pontiac residents in general. He called them ghetto politicians. He dismissed the Canaday family as just homeless, being homeless. Cazal mocked the idea of looking for the family, saying it wasn't real police work and saying that it was pointless because the kids would just be put in foster care and get raped. He concluded that the kids will still be here. They'll be just fine because people in Pontiac don't die. The following day, Monica and her children continued to wander the freezing streets of Pontiac, knocking on doors for help. Meanwhile, her family searched for her on the streets of Pontiac. Her family also stayed in homes where they thought she might come and stood vigil waiting for her. They also staked out her home, keeping a safe distance so that she wouldn't be afraid. Meanwhile, the Oakland County Sheriff's Office did nothing. Despite multiple calls and direct knowledge of this family in crisis, the Oakland County Sheriff's Office made no further efforts to locate them. That night, in a state of extreme paranoia, Monica instructed her children to sleep outside in a field, believing it would protect them from the police. The field was less than 1 mile from where the Oakland County Sheriff's Office deputies had been dispatched to search for Monica the day before. On the morning of January 15, 2023, Monica's 10-year-old daughter, Jane Doe, woke up to find her family dead from exposure. This child, Jane Doe, is the sole survivor and will live with the trauma and the loss of her entire family. There is no excuse for Oakland County's refusal to respond. Oakland County had ample information, multiple warnings, and countless opportunities to intervene. And every time they chose to do nothing, or worse, actually, actively made the situation more precarious and perilous for Monica and the children. This was a complete breakdown in the Oakland County Sheriff's Office duty to serve and to protect the community. What we're trying to do here in this lawsuit, in these lawsuits, is to shine a light on the blatant indifference and racial bias that led to the deaths of Monica and the children, as well as to shine a light on the bias against those with mental disabilities. The Oakland County Sheriff's Office deputies ignored, mocked, and abandoned a mother and her children in crisis because they viewed this struggling African-American family as disposable. We intend to hold these officers accountable and to expose the systemic bias just to ensure that no other family suffers this kind of preventable tragedy. We thank you for joining us, and we invite you to stay on this journey with us and keep close tabs on this story. It's an important one. And with that, I want to hand over the microphone, if you will, to Diamond Canaday. Diamond is a representative for the Canaday family. And go ahead, Diamond.
Thank you, Megan. I'm Diamond Canaday, and Monica Canaday and her sons, Kyle and Malik Milton, were my cousins. When Monica and her boys were taken from us, our entire world stopped. We are a small, close-knit family, and losing Monica, Kyle, and Malik has left a hole that we will never be able to fill. Those of us who stepped up to raise Monica's surviving child, including myself, had to become parents to a grieving child overnight. I myself was not a parent before, and she is not the same child that she was before all of this happened. Even through her grief, she is still bright and friendly, the loving kid that Monica raised. But that sadness is always there, just beneath the surface. Our whole family has come together to surround her with love, support, and stability. And we've made sure that she knows she's not alone, but no amount of love from us can replace what she's now lost. She also struggles with anxiety and fear, constantly worrying about losing the people that she loves. For a very long time, she could not sleep alone, and she needed to see us breathing, just to know that we were still there. Even now, she's asking for extra hugs and always needs to hear, "I love you," just one more time. The legal action isn't about making sure, it is about making sure that she has everything that she needs to heal, the best therapy, the best education, and the support that she needs to build a future for herself. Monica was supposed to be here. She was supposed to be there for the future graduations, the birthdays, and all of the future big moments. These are moments that were taken from her, and we owe it to her to make sure that she has the chance to live a full and a happy life. We're pursuing this case additionally because of the way that the officers treated Monica, her children, and our family overall. The treatment of us was inexcusable. They ignored a mother who was experiencing a mental crisis and her terrified children, and instead of offering any sort of compassion or help, they were making ugly and racist assumptions about who they were. They ultimately decided that they did not matter. The officers responsible should be held accountable. The public deserves to know exactly what was said, what was done, and how badly they responded to Monica and her children. No one with this kind of disregard for human life should be trusted to protect any community, let alone the community of Pontiac. Monica was not some stereotype. She was a devoted mother, she was a caring cousin, and a loving and essential part of our family. She raised her kids with so much love and grace, and she always looked out for others. She was the kind of person to donate hand-me-down clothes and make meals and care for anyone who was in need. In that moment, Monica was struggling with her mental health, and we knew that she needed help. We were trying to support her, and she was let down by the very people who were supposed to provide that final stage of protection and that to her children as well. Instead of seeing a mother in crisis, the police officers on duty saw a Black woman that they assumed had a record or was homeless, and they treated her like a problem to be dismissed instead of a person who was in need of help. That kind of bias and that kind of willingness to just write someone off because of where they live or because of the color of their skin cost Monica and her kids their lives. No family should ever have to wonder if their lives would have mattered more if they looked differently or lived differently or lived in a different or wealthier community. This didn't have to happen. And I would love for people to understand that. That's all I have for now.
Okay, so I'm just looking in the chat, and the question is, since the story has come out, has Oakland County given the attorneys any kind of response? Kevin, do you want to take that one?
Since the lawsuit has come out, no, we have not yet had the chance to speak to Oakland County or its council.
Another question, after making the police report that Monica was having a mental break, what did the family do to locate Monica and her children? Diamond, do you want to field that, or I can if you want?
I I think that Megan listed most of what the family did, but overall, outside of reaching out to authorities, we were doing everything that anybody could imagine you would do. There were people driving the city. There were people waiting at her home. We understood that she was experiencing some sort of mental break, so we were even being careful not to, further exacerbate it and keeping distance outside of the home, just watching and waiting to see if they were there. My mother personally went to the home the night that the calls were made and the following morning, and there were others that stopped at the home as well. There, we were calling her phone, but she, in that moment of paranoia, was not. She didn't have possession of her phone, so there was no way to reach her. And everybody who was able to stay and keep vigil in different locations were trying to wait in places where she might return. We were reaching out to people within the family to see if others had heard from her, and continuing to do so throughout the duration of the entire time.
And I'm just going to add to that. What the family did not know is the location where the Good Samaritan had been able to had found them. The Good Samaritan knew where they were. He had eyes on them. And in fact, he was following them at a safe distance so that he could give officers a precise location as to their whereabouts. That fact, the family did not know and had no idea. There's a question from a reporter, Hannah McKay. Hello. The sheriff's office told us that their personnel tried to help Ms. Canaday and her children numerous times, but she refused these efforts and they could not detain the family. Kevin, do you want to field that one? Do we have a response to that?
Yeah, our response is laid out in both complaints. That explanation is nonsense. The police knew very clearly that these children were in danger. Available information, photographic evidence, and video evidence obtained through the Freedom of Information Act shows these small children walking the streets of Pontiac on a freezing cold day, covered in bed sheets. They're not wearing winter coats. They're not wearing gloves. They're not wearing hats. When the deputy encountered the family in the hospital, spoke to Monica directly, and she gave a false explanation for why her and her children were at the hospital, which would have led any officer to conclude that these children were in danger and that he wasn't being told the whole story. They received reports that she was trespassing, looking into houses that were not her own property. And they had a responsibility, a community caretaker responsibility to intervene to protect these children. There was ample cause for them to stop this family and make sure that they were accompanied to shelter, or if necessary, taken into custody if it meant protecting their lives, which they had ample opportunity to do.
Okay, I'm not seeing any questions. We'll give it a second. Oh. Okay, so we, you can, any attendees out there that do have questions, you can submit them through the Q&A box. And we'll just give it a minute. You know, I think I'm going to add one thing, Kevin, as well to your response. Um, the report that was generated as an official response to this tragedy was created, of course, well after their deaths. And I think it should be noted that we have FOIA documents that literally support every single allegation in our complaint. And as Kevin said, they're a combination of video and documents, timelines that we were able to put together through much effort to really put this story together for you. But again, there are FOIA videos out there that will support every single allegation that we have. Okay, Casey, I don't have any questions coming through.
Yeah, it looks like we don't have any additional questions. If you all would like to just give your closing thoughts.
We just, I think we've really expressed everything here. But I just urge you to keep on top of the story and feel free to reach out to us at any time. And as I said, you know, we have released some of the video that you have seen. There is more. Diamond, do you have anything further to say?
Monica, Kyle, and Malik mattered. Their absence leaves us with an extreme pain that we never expected to have to feel. Our family does not take pleasure in having to relive and discuss these experiences, but Monica's surviving child deserves the support that she's going to need to thrive. I want to just take a moment to express gratitude and gratefulness to the support of our therapists, extended family, friends, and our legal team as the grief process continues to be difficult. The support has been essential and will continue to be needed as this process continues. Thank you.
Okay, Casey, I think we're all done. We appreciate everyone coming. And thank you so much for attending. If you have information, you can reach out to Casey. I think all of you have her contact information. And again, we appreciate you.